Hello, everybody. Casey Turner here from Express Your Artsy Soul. I'm so excited to be with Meg Journals for Junk Journal July. My prompt is light, and I wanted to show you an art journaling spread where the bottom and right side of the pages are going to be darker, representing kind of the darkness, and then the light is going to be moving up toward the left corner. I've been very into creating pages lately where there is a darker portion leading to light. Basically, it's representing that there is always hope and light will always come. As always, I'm starting with collage papers and I'm working on adding that darkness to the bottom and right side of the pages. I chose some darker collage papers, some black and whites, that was just collage fodder that I made with my scribble writing, and then just some black and white pattern paper and a jelly print that I had on hand, and just some random darker bits of paper that I just had lying around on my desk. I am using Mod Podge, as you saw in the beginning. I am a Mod Podge girl. Some people are not, and they prefer matte medium or gel medium. You can use whatever you want, even a glue stick. I don't have a good glue stick right now, so I'm just using Mod Podge. And this is my Get Messy journal. Just wanted to throw that in there. That left page is actually vellum, and the right page is, I believe, a kind of mixed media paper. So this just goes to show that my style of art journaling can be done on vellum, really on any kind of paper, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to add some ledger paper and some music paper into the white space of my pages just to give a little bit of variation in the background. Here I am going in with some Payne's Gray acrylic paint and just blending the edges of my collage papers. A lot of times I do this with white gesso as it really covers the edges of the papers. But being that I'm creating some darkness here, I wanted to go in with the Payne's Gray. I did go a little bit crazy there on the right side with the Payne's Gray, and it didn't actually work out the way I wanted to. I tried to blend it a little bit with water, but that didn't work either. So I will be going in and working on that with some white gesso. I often use my fingers because I feel like I have more control with my fingers, and I just like the looseness of it, the lack of brush stroke, and just, I don't know, letting my inner child come out and doing some finger painting. I grabbed a brush here though, just because for recording purposes, it was a lot faster. And as you can see, I did leave the vintage papers, the music paper and the ledger paper showing, but blended it into the background. I decided to grab a green, I'm not even sure what color that is, acrylic paint, and just kind of go up on that left side a little bit so it wasn't such a strong horizontal line. I'm adding more Payne's Gray and added some water so I could get more of a flowy, drippy look. Then I decided to add some splatters because, hello, splatters are just super fun. I ended up putting my journal in my clump of white gesso, so as I was wiping that off, the splatters dripped to the left, so I'm fixing that a little bit with some white gesso and then blending that white space in a little bit more. I felt like the white space needed a little extra something something, so I went in with a cream tan color acrylic paint and a stencil. It didn't quite work out as well as I wanted with this brush that I'm using. I just didn't really want to dirty another brush. So I keep trying, and then I kind of decided to use my finger. I gave up on the brush and used my finger instead. And I don't know if you've ever done this technique with a dirty stencil with a baby wipe, where you can smear the stencil with a baby wipe and you get some of the paint that was already onto your pages. And then if you put it over top of where you've already added paint and wipe with the baby wipe, you're lifting some of that paint. And it just is a really cool technique. I wanted to add some leaves here, kind of going along that edge of my dark space. I guess just showing that life can come from darkness as well. We don't have to stay in that dark place. We can grow or go toward the light. I was holding my brush like very loosely and toward the back. And of course, it fell out of my hand and made a mark where I didn't want it. So I just cleaned that off with a baby wipe. I honestly didn't really have a plan for this prompt. I just knew that I wanted to create some dark space at the bottom and the right and have a lot of white space going up toward one of the corners. And then the leaves just ended up kind of happening. I'm not really sure how I feel about this little bunch of leaves that I'm going to paint here in a second. But I kind of thought it was weird to have the leaves just end the way they were. So I added this smaller little bunch here. And again, I'm still not quite sure, how I feel about it, but what's done is done. Kind of going along with that prompt of light, I wanted to go in with a lighter green to add some variation to the leaves so they weren't just one flat color. Somehow my paintbrush fell out of my hand again. So I don't know what my problem was when I did these pages, but I clearly couldn't keep my paintbrush in my hand very well. Of course, where there is light, there should be some dark. So I felt like the leaves needed a bit of a darker green. I probably should have gone in with the darker and then the lighter green, but sometimes I march to the beat of my own drum and I do things a little bit differently than one normally would. I felt like it needed a flower or something kind of in that grouping of where the larger leaves meet the smaller leaves. So I went in with a pencil and just loosely did some leaves. I don't even know what kind of flower this would be. I just kind of scribbled some leaves out, went in with my already dirty white gesso brush with some white gesso and dried it to make sure that the white gesso was all dry before I add the black Stabilo all. Then going in with my Artify paintbrushes and going over the black Stabilo with the wet brush. I did decide to go in with a little bit of coffee just to create some brown and some dark and shadowing on the flower petals, and then dabbed away the extra water with my baby wipe, but dabbed too much. So of course had to go in and redo that a little bit, adding some coffee splatters which is never a bad thing. And yeah, now I am going in and outlining the leaves with my Signo Uniball black pen. I love to messily write something, usually a prayer, as one of my final layers. So I just wrote a bit about light and how it always overcomes the darkness. Thank you so much for watching, for joining in Junk Journal July with Meg and everybody else participating. And I hope you enjoy my process and enjoy the month of July.